You want all my love and my devotion. Da, 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 da. You want my... I had no doubt that I could love you forever. The only trouble is I really don't have the time. I got one night only, that's all we've got to pay. One night only. Let's not pretend you care. I've got...
Wouldn't have been the song I chose, but I had fun.
What song would you have chose from that album? Dreamgirls, of course. Or was it a movie, musical?
Something a little way. I am Trey. I love that moment. She's like in somebody's penthouse floor with the skyline, and it's her.
With that. I am Trey. With the ramen noodle jerry curl and
listen, we were sitting there watching Wicked, and you could not wait to point out somebody's wig. The one moment somebody's wig was coming up just a little tiny bit.
I was watching the wig line when I was actually watching the movie. I was like, Ariana Grande, girl, you got that. I'm like, oh, she's hungry as shit, bitch. Stop.
Wow. Stop. I think it's time for us to get back on script.
Welcome to Just Press Play. I'm Ell.
And I'm Trey. And today, Smitten. Our favorite mayor went to the White House and made the president say, I'm in love with Mom Donnie. And Nicki Minaj, her buttons are on the left, but she's gone right.
I know that's fucking wrong. In other news, the Department of Education has reclassified which degrees are no longer considered professional.
In pop culture, because I saw Wicked, I am changed. Well, I'm changed.
In other news in pop culture, they're retiring every bottom's favorite car, the Nissan Altima. What is the Sexxy Red fan base gonna drive now?
What is Sexxy Red's fan base?
Girls that drive that type of car.
It's Just Press Play on music, ABCDEFG, FKA Twigs on the beat.
All that and more from our favorite Butch Queen duo. But first, Trey Takes.
What's up, y'all? Today's Trey Take is about, in part, my trip to Santo Domingo, República Dominicana. In the historical district of Santo Domingo, there is a gigantic statue of Christopher Columbus. And I was there with my family when a gentleman offered us a tour that would include the history of the man who discovered the Americas. We all, I'm assuming, have experienced learning about Christopher Columbus, the hero, the explorer, but only later learned about some of the very vicious, barbaric, torturous treatment of native people that he wrote about in his own journals. And when I was younger, I remember being very upset to learn that Christopher Columbus had slaves based on the hero he was made out to be. And I don't think I ever really investigated the why of America's obsession with covering that up. Why do we celebrate Christopher Columbus? Why are there monuments all over the country? Why is a traffic circle in New York City named after him? It's because he was such a great colonizer. But synonymous with colonization is the type of torture and, decimation of native populations that he is known for. So it's the violence itself that is why we celebrate Christopher Columbus. I started thinking too about the Confederate soldiers who loved slavery so much that they were willing to wage a war against their own country just to keep it. There are Confederate statues in more than half of states in the US. Many of them were built in direct response to the civil rights movement as a declaration to their dedication to white supremacy. Meanwhile, the descendants of those slaves have fought harder than anyone to create an America that actually lives up to its creed. One in which, like our founding documents say, all people are created equal. When you look at the efforts to actually increase said equality, the Civil Rights Act, a hero of the right, Charlie Kirk, said that that was a big mistake. Affirmative action shut down. And now DEI and diversity altogether. That's the problem with things like DEI and affirmative action, is that they sought to make things more fair in this country when fairness and equality and diversity have never actually been values that this country cares about. There are monuments dedicated to Martin Luther King Jr., but there are far more dedicated to people like Christopher Columbus and Confederate soldiers. Whether white people are willing to admit it or not, whiteness is almost like a superpower in this country. There is a perceived innocence, intelligence, even cleanliness that is prescribed to white people that they do not, in many cases, actually possess. And DEI was the kryptonite to that power. So I don't blame them motherfuckers for trying to get rid of it. I don't want to give up my power because I have power too. As a black man, as a black person, as a queer person. As I stated, black people in this country have had the privilege of, by necessity, being on the right side of history, fighting for justice. And we have done so with a joy that I have not seen elsewhere. The joy is unmatched as we are being exercised from our jobs, and the country tells us that we don't have as much value. What Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam largely advocated for was building something of our own.
Instead of trying to force ourselves upon whites or force ourselves into the white society or blame the white man for our predicament and constantly beg him for what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and solve our problem ourselves.
There will be more on this topic if you're interested on Substack. As always, keep pressing play. Like, comment, subscribe. That's all. Bye-bye.
I always appreciate that insightful, deep, philosophical, link to link.
Yeah, everything is connected. I mean, it's just not a coincidence that we celebrate white supremacists and, torturous colonizers before we celebrate people who champion equality and freedom. Justice.
Absolutely. My segment, which is the most stupidest news ever. This is a news segment, okay? The most stupidest news ever.
The most stupidest.
Well, the most stupidest news ever, right? We can use that word now. We can, because the Department of Education has decided to reclassify which degrees that are no longer considered professional. And I want to read you some of the degrees that are no longer considered professional. At the end of the day, the cost of education is way too expensive anyways, right? But here's a list of some of the degrees that will no longer be considered professional degrees. Professional. Say it with me. Professional. First one.
I'm like, oh my God, I hope mine's not in there.
You know it is. And you know it is.
Yeah, I'm like, it might be. Girl, all we was doing was reading and writing.
That's so damn dumb. Reading and writing so fucking dumb. Not professional, girl. Another one. Education. Number one.
Wait.
Not professional no more.
The first item on the education's banned non-professional degrees is a degree in education.
My man said Donald Trump told Linda McMahon, who has a teaching certification, never taught really. Never really taught, bitch. She was at the WWE and that drag race fucking competition. That was the first real drag race that it was ever created. Is a bunch of men in tights slamming each other around on a mat that has microphones underneath it in a choreographed dance in which they were rubbing bodies against each other in skin-tight latex. And y'all fucked up for that.
She's been holding on to that one, huh?
Education's the first.
Education.
It's the first one.
Gag.
All right, here, number two. You ready? nursing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not just nursing, MSN and DPN. That's like nursing times 3 and 2. Physician's assistant, physical therapist, occupational therapist, audiology, speech therapy, pathology, accounting. Well, once you bitches counting, architecture. It's starting to get real fucking rough around New York City anyway. Everything looks the same. Architecture, done. Counsel that. First of all, in my opinion, number one overworked person in the healthcare industry, social workers, MSN and DSW. Those are no longer considered professional degrees. So y'all was talking about people needing to get off the streets and get mental health counseling and substance abuse and all that shit. These bitches right here, these social workers, those are the most underpaid people with the most overbooked caseload outside of the nurses that are no longer professional in the whole medical profession. Public health, MPH, and doctor of public health is no longer considered a profession.
Like a doctorate degree?
And I think it's important to note that they're no longer considered professional in the sense of you're going to get Pell Grants and special funding for them. Now you're going to have to go out of your way probably to get like loans that you probably wouldn't normally be considered for. Last but not least, masters in business management. You can't have that. That's not good. Engineering masters. Who cares about engineers? Fuck them. Counseling and therapy degrees. Which ones?
Pick one.
Wait, degrees that remain professional. Medicine, pharmacy, law, dentistry, veterinarian. So y'all cared about the animals but not the kids. Crazy. Chiropractor. That everyone tells me that's a bamboozled scheme anyway. You got some man cracking your back with no tools. Did they get any x-rays or anything?
And the girls end up in the hospital, but none of them are professional anymore. So
fuck it.
Girl, figure it out.
However, theology. Listen, if you do theology, listen, I love you. That's a degree. Just like fucking nursing is a degree. Considered professional. And clinical psychology. All right, fine. Damn, so all those other degrees not cool? Oh, so you know all the BFA girls.
Since you got your degree.
And you know
well, actually.
You don't know every fucking
degree.
thing. You got that white bitch ringing my motherfucking buzzer. Talking about some each one, teach one. You a dummy, bitch.
At the AMC.
Nicole Kidman ain't ever sit down for that one. She was like, we come to this place for this.
Not for this.
So that's all for my news. Honestly, I think that in a day and age where we really, really need education real bad in America, because a lot of kids got left behind. I never shared this with you, but I was left behind in 2nd grade. They left me right there, Earl. They left me right there. They said, this bitch right here.
Do you remember what that was like? Was there like a sit down at the school where it was like, hey,
it wasn't painful at all.
But like,
it was the most fun, honestly, I ever had as a child. No trauma at all. I remember the summer, my dad got my report card. I'm gonna give my dad credit because I think he before he opened it, he was like, so no matter what, you're really smart. And you're really, because he kind of already knew. I think there was a parent-teacher conference where like, yeah, she gonna see grade 2 next year again. Honestly, I had a better teacher. It was a way better experience anyway, because my dad always says that he thought my teacher was racist and she just didn't want me to be successful anyways. So long story short, those kids that got left behind like me are now raising other kids that are pandemic babies. So we're fucked. We're fucked. We're never going to the moon. Bitch, we're going to get sicker by the decade. And that's it.
All right.